What's up, Pirate Nation? I'm your host, David Heim, and welcome to a brand new episode of Hall Talk. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to break down the week that was on the men's basketball team and the women's team, as well as preview the upcoming weekend for both squads. I have a great panel alongside me this evening, so stay tuned. This is Hall Talk. This team needs to show me something for me to believe that they're going to make a run in the tournament.
I think they can have a chance of going over 35 wins without a problem.
Just stepping up from the 4 points to the 17. She's just dropping threes like there's no tomorrow.
But chemistry is an underrated key in college basketball.
That was by far the best game I've seen them play.
This is Hall Talk, and that's how the chalk talks.
Welcome back to Hall Talk, and at this time I'll bring in my panel for this evening, Louis Olvera and Aaron Ross. Guys, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump right in on the men's side, men's basketball. Fresh off a 79-60 win over St. John's on Wednesday night. They improved to 14-6 overall and 4-4 in the Big East. And Aaron, I'll start with you. What did you see on the men's side last night?
Well, I saw it was like the weather nowadays, you know. It's cold, so therefore the fans were slow to get to the game. The team was slow to start. It's just cold. The snow is coming. That's what's up.
To go along with what Aaron said, the traffic, that was a big thing for us. Not even the fans, but even the employees.
They didn't even want to shovel the snow. That's the other thing. So there was so much backup to get there. The team, St. John's was late.
St. John, speaking of cold, though,
Looked like Seton Hall was late.
Seton Hall was late to start the game. They really struggled, but I mean, I don't know if it was Seton Hall's fault or St. John's fault that the team was just very rusty in the beginning. Mm-hmm. St. John's throughout the entire game.
It's the winter. It's cold, so the team's going to start slow. It's cold.
But they heated up, though, in the second half. Seton Hall did.
Naturally, because the summer is coming.
Let's bring it back. One thing I saw from the game last night, and in 3+ years of being here at Seton Hall, one thing that I've always seen was St. John's, tough game, tough team to play. They've always given you your all. And it's just amazing to see the overhaul that this program has gone through with the loss of Steve Lavin and then the loss of key players. Did you see any of that? And Aaron, I'll start with you last night. That this is definitely a different type of St. John's program that we played.
Well, yeah, it's a total rebuilding process. This team, they don't really have very many big men. They're very undersized, as we heard from Chris Mullen after the game. They had Jones, who really is kind of a role player underneath of them, but they're very young. They even threw in walk-ons with 10 minutes almost left in the game, playing a majority of the time. Then they're just out of it. It's a serious rebuilding process for them.
Louis?
I mean, Aaron took it right out of my mouth. There's nothing more to say, especially with the walk-ons. That was a huge statement. It took everyone by surprise. I mean, we even played with the Mike Dowdy, the walk-on, but that was with 2 minutes left or something like that. But I want to take it back to St. Hall, and I mean, boy, how much did we need that game, especially after those tough games against Providence and Villanova and Xavier. And so great to see Seton Hall again smiling, seeing the walk-on, seeing some of the bench players score. So they definitely need that reamped attitude against tough opponents coming up.
Well, that's what Coach Willer said after the game. It was nice to – the hard competition is behind them. They will not have a harder stretch of games the rest of the season.
I mean, the Big East is the Big East.
The Big East is hard, but you're not going to play 4 and 5 again like that back-to-back the rest of the season.
That's true.
At Providence. Those are some hard games that they got out of the way.
Got some of the
There's
good road
some
ones out of the
winnable
way.
games coming up. But what I want to focus on is Coach Willer said they played some really hard games, and it really took a toll on Angel Delgado. And the big men that he had to play the past week or so, guys like Daniel Ochefu, Fisher from Marquette. Now, what did you see last night from Angel Delgado? 15 points, 17 rebounds. It seemed like he really had his way down in the paint last night. St. John's didn't have an answer for him.
I think he was just extremely excited to realize he was going against a team that didn't quite have a big man to match up with him, like a Villanova or a Marquette or Creighton for that matter. He got to go out there and he got to play his style of game where he could just be the bigger guy down low and body whoever he wanted, and just basically he had a field day. 17 rebounds, that's unheard of.
He had a lot of fun that day, and he also vibed with everyone else. And you heard Kadeem Carrington post-game. He talked to him before this game, and he said, you got to step it up. You got to show us who you were last year, and boy, did he really step up.
You guys were both there post-game. Did you guys catch Coach Mullen when asked about Angel Delgado saying, hold on, I got to look this guy up? Really, Coach? One of the best big men in all the Big East.
He's just trying to show that, he's kind of a little bit of an arrogant man. He likes to think he's better than a lot of people.
All respect to him. All respect to him, but I mean, with that record, you're going to be a little salty, I feel like.
Keep an eye out for Andrew Delgado moving forward. Keep an eye out for the Pirates moving forward. Guys, listen to their upcoming stretch of games. At Creighton versus Marquette, at home against Georgetown and Butler. If you ask me, those are some pretty winnable games for the Pirates.
The big thing for me there is 3 of those 4 are home.
Yeah.
Which is huge. The Dancing Lobsters, they'll be in the house, and that'll keep the crowd riled
Hopefully.
up. But like we said, the Big East, any given day, a Big East team can come in and beat anyone. You got Butler, who has beat Purdue and Cincinnati this year, who are both in and out of being ranked. Purdue right now. Georgetown has beat Xavier, who has been in and out of the top 10 this year. You got Creighton, who has beaten Butler, who was also number 18 at the time. And then Marquette, who has defeated Providence at Providence, just like we did. So every single one of those teams has a chance to knock someone off.
Creighton really is a team that's messing everything up, I feel like. Seton Hall was always going to be in that 5, 6, possibly even 4 range. But Creighton now ahead of Butler, ahead of Seton Hall, and now it's a whole mishup. That Creighton game to me is the biggest. On the road, which is the toughest.
Real quick, some winnable games coming up. I want one storyline you guys want to see at Creighton this weekend.
Desi Rodriguez, plain and simple. I want him to have a big game. He's got a steal in every single game so far this year. I think he's got to be the key, other than Angel bodying him down low.
What I want to see on the headlines is revenge and moving up on the standings for the Big East. Simple
Ugly
as that.
loss at home a couple weeks ago against Creighton.
Creighton didn't see the real Seton Hall that time, if you ask me.
Fresh off of Villanova. At Villanova, that was a tough game they had to bounce back from. So let's see if they can bounce back against Creighton this weekend at Creighton. Guys, let's jump on to the women's side. The women's team really playing well. It's not surprised. Tony Bazzilla's really had a handle on this group this year. They're now 16-4 overall and 6-3 in the Big East. Our very own Dylan Schreibman caught up with Tabitha Richardson-Smith, the leading scorer on the Pirates, after the team's win over Xavier on Friday. Dylan?
I'm Dylan Schreiman here reporting for Pirate Television here with Tabitha Richardson-Smith. Another big night, an 82-66 win over Xavier tonight, returning to Walsh Gymnasium. How does it feel?
It's great. I mean, our crowd came out here, showed a lot of support, and it was just a great team win. We had fun. We haven't been in, I think they said it was 17 days we haven't been here, so just playing home was great for us.
Your defense tonight, terrific, forcing turnovers and not letting Xavier get into a rhythm at all. What can you say about your play on the defensive end?
We're here to play how we know how to play Seton Hall basketball, and once we got back to our groove, we started off slow, we picked it back up, and we found what Coach was talking about, the keys to our defense, and defense wins games, so that's what we did.
Midway through the third quarter, Xavier cuts the lead down to 11. Bazzella calls a timeout. You guys respond with an 11-0 run. What does that show with the leadership of your team?
It just shows you that what we're here to do and what we're capable of. And, Coach B is great. He gets us together, maybe take a deep breath and, continue to play how we know how to play.
All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Dylan Schreiman here reporting for Pirate Television.
Welcome back, and we're going to jump onto the women's side of things right now. And guys, like I mentioned before, we cut to Dylan's interview. 16-4 overall, 6-3 in the Big East. Huge weekend for the Pirates coming up, both on the road, at DePaul on Friday, at Marquette on Sunday. How big of a weekend is this for the Pirates? Lewis?
DePaul right there. Even if they didn't have a game against Marquette, DePaul, that's the biggest thing. We're ranked once again. Unfortunately, we have to play another ranked team that is DePaul. They're the leaders of this Big East Conference. The team's ready, though. The team has always been ready. All season they've shown it. They had a little bit of a rocky start. Same with the men and women's kind of had the same thing. But that DePaul, if they can get past that DePaul, even if they lose the rest of the way, they should be fine.
Well, they're going to have to avenge a home loss the last time they played
lose
DePaul.
The rest of the way? I don't know about that. I can see losing to DePaul, I could see, but you got to win some more out of that. But DePaul,
right? That's what I'm saying. They're going to be fine the entire rest of the stretch.
You got to take each game at a time.
Of course, but look at the schedule and look at Seton Hall. The Seton Hall team, they can win easily 8 of the last 9 games.
You can say the men's Big East is you can't take anyone lightly. You got to do the same thing for any team. It's not like your UConn. You're going to go in there and play a little Loyola or something like that, or Denver. No, this is the Big East. Every team is good and has a chance of beating everyone.
Okay, all right. So let's build off that. Let's build off that one game at a time. First game on the weekend, Friday at DePaul. Aaron, they have to revenge a home loss the last time they played them.
Last time,
what are they
DePaul
going to do?
24, we were 25, and we were tight until the half. Then DePaul ended up blowing us out in the second half. We ended up losing by under 20, but still, DePaul was up by 30 at one point in that game, and really, it's going to be down to Tabs and Tiffany Jones, if you ask me. You have to win on the boards. That's plain and simple. If you're in the paint, you have to win there. And Tabs, really, she just needs to get her shot going, and she needs to get it going early and often.
It seems like she's warmed up. 2 times in a row, she's been Big East Player of the Week. She's on a roll, and it's a perfect timing against DePaul and Marquette. 2 games on the road.
Exactly.
This team's definitely going to have to play better defense. They can't find themselves down 20, 25, 30 like they were last month at home. How about the rocky part, the earlier part of January, I should say, was kind of a rocky stretch for the Pirates, and especially Big East play. They found themselves losing a few in a row. Has this team hit its stride?
You know, I want to say it was just kind of a rough time during the season, but I think they have good vibes constantly. Like you said earlier about the men and all them, they have it flowing nice right now. At practice team, they're having fun together. So I think they really are rolling now, and I think they got a good chance.
And you know, if anything, I'd rather them have a rocky start
To correct their mistakes.
They'll learn early.
instead of having them in late February, March,
Exactly,
especially in the tournament and possibly in the NCAA
Like,
tournament.
exactly right. If there's one time in the season, you never want to have a cold time during the season, but if there's one point when you want to have some rough, it's very beginning of conference play, and then you get your sea legs on you, and you get going, and you get hot, and you make the NCAA tournament, and you're on a roll going in.
I mean, Dave, every team has it. Any sport, any level, everyone's going to have their fall, and it's perfect timing that they're riding back up again.
Now, we talked about the men's side having a few games home at the Prudential Center in the next couple games. After this road trip this weekend, the women will have 5 of their last 7 games at Walsh to close out the entire regular season. How important is that?
Aaron, going back to my statement, they're
Exactly.
winnable 8 of their last 9 games. They should do it. I mean, Walsh, Coach B has said it countless times. It's one of the toughest places in the country, and I'm a firm believer of that statement.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that completely. See, I wanted to wait a little so we got to mention that they were all home because you got to take them one at a time. But
Fair.
Walsh Gym, like you said, Coach Bozzella doesn't stress it enough. He wants the home court advantage to be a major factor in every single game played at Walsh, and that is a key. 5 of 7 at home to end the year. That's astounding for them, and it's a perfect way to go.
Let's see if we can get the Dancing Lobsters at Walsh Gymnasium. That'd be fun.
Might help. So the men have corrected sort of a rocky week against some tough competition. They're back on in their winning ways, and the women seem to be hitting their stride just in time for the most important part of the regular season. For Aaron Ross and Louis Olvera, I'm David Heim. Just want to thank you all for joining tonight. Have a great week, everybody.